And we welcome with a big applause the two finalists.
Time now for the recurve women's bronze medal match here at the second stage of the European Grand Prix.
Number 1 representing Ukraine with Anastasia Pavlova. And the champion number 2 again representing Ukraine, Solomiya Hnyp. Judge of the match, we already know Miss Marlene Kredels, and we are ready to go with the first set. We move to 70 meters, the target is 122, and now we score with the set system. The first archer to reach 6 points will win.
So here we go. Anastasia Pavlova from Ukraine takes on her teammate Solomiya Hnyp. Pavlova, an Olympian who took a silver medal in the European Grand Prix in Porridge in 2021. He's going to get this match underway. Chef, we switch to the set system.
Yeah, set system means we shoot 3 arrows per set on 70 meters at a 122 centimeter target. The highest score of those 3 arrows, or the highest scoring archer, will get rewarded 2 set points. The tied score will mean 1 set point each, and the first person to have 6 or 7 set points wins the match.
For a centimeter, it's a 9.
Good recovery there from that previous arrow.
So 8 to catch the set, it's a 9. So the first set is for Hnyp, and we have 2-0.
So a solid start from Solomiya Hnyp from Ukraine against her teammate Anastasia Pavlova. So the first 2 set points going to Hnyp. They're both slightly bent over at full draw, but very much more pronounced from Pavlova.
Yeah, most of her weight is on the front of her feet, and there's a bit of a bend in her hips, so she's leaning forwards quite a bit. It allows for a lot of room for expansion when you're pulling through the clicker, but it's also difficult to maintain balance and to keep very stable in your shot, so it's a bit of a risky thing to do. It's good to have a little bit of a weight shift to your front of your feet, but what Anastasia is doing is pretty extreme, I'd say.
Yeah, it certainly looks extreme, as you say. It's very bent over. Wind not really affecting things too much, but there was a 7 in the middle there from Anastasia, and she trails by 2 set points. So she'll shoot first in the second. Of course, this one could be done in 9 arrows if Solomiya Hnyp wins the next 2 sets.
9.
Always a very quick shot, Anastasia.
Way out right. Well, that one's
Yeah, I think we can hear the mics picking up the wind, and we can see the hair and the the little flags on the target. We can see it all flutter quite a bit now, where before it was a bit more wind still. There you go. There's a good example of the wind. And you can see them just move around quite a bit. So I think the wind has definitely picked up now, which is typically the case with an afternoon session or like a later session. In the morning it'll be pretty still, pretty easy to shoot in, and then when the day gets a bit warmer and when it kind of it gets a bit later, the wind always tends to pick up.
So, Chef, I mean, when the conditions change like this, I think, you know, we've certainly been used to seeing the archers adapting very, very quickly. And to be fair to Hnyp, she did after that first 6, she went on to take the set. Perhaps not the same can be said from Pavlova. She just didn't adjust quick enough.
Yeah, and Anastasia doesn't shoot so heavy, so her draw weight of her bow is not so heavy, so she'll be pretty affected by the wind as well. But yeah, it's always a risk. You don't know if the first arrow, if you were being blown around by the wind, if that also affected your shot, or if it was just the arrow getting pulled away by the wind, getting drifted by the wind. So it's a bit of a gamble. Like, okay, do I just adjust my aim completely, like judging off of where the last arrow went, or do I go halfway because I might have done something wrong with my shot? So it's difficult to go from a really bad arrow to the middle again in an instant.
Well, there needs to be a change here from Pavlova. Puts it into the middle of the target to put a bit of pressure on. 4-0 down, and that's just what she needs.
7. 8.
So still, both tend to go to the right quite a bit, which would be what the wind is indicating. But like you said, you would also expect them to adjust to the wind quite quickly, and it seems like it's kind of calmed down a little more.
7-25.
So a chance to do this one. Needs a 10.
9-25.
Puts it into the 9 for a tied score in the third. But on the scoreboard for the first time, it's Anastasia Pavlova, trailing by 4 points still.
Yeah, it's actually quite an important tied score for Solomiya, because if you look at it objectively, she only needs to tie whatever Anastasia's shooting right now. So she doesn't need to win the set anymore. She just needs to tie one of the remaining sets, and she'll walk away with the match.
Comes with its own pressure, though, doesn't it? When you know you don't want to be, you don't want to go passive, do you?
No, that's a good point. And we always talk about like, oh, it's like a tactic to do it like this, or you could do it like this. But eventually, archery all comes down to just shooting 10s, no matter the circumstances, or shooting as many 10s as possible. So it shouldn't really matter what your opponent is doing, and it shouldn't really matter what set score you're at, but it's very tempting to think like that.
7.
Well, Pavlova starts the fourth with a 7. Room for error here for Hnyp.
9.
I will say, in terms of strategy, if it is windy, you sometimes need to take some risk, especially with the 20-second time limit. And shooting second in that regard, you kind of know how much risk you need to take in a certain shot, how much you need to aim off, or if you actually do need to aim off, or if you can just shoot a confident shot aimed at the middle. So there is a little bit of tactics, a little bit of strategy, but typically not really.
Well, massive opportunity here. Puts it into the 8, and that's more than enough. A 27 in this set for Hnyp. Plays 25, and a very confident and commanding 7-1 win for Solomiya Hnyp, taking the bronze medal here in Croatia.